Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. Good morning, good morning. Happy that you're with us on this terrific Tuesday. And I just want to give a shout out to each and everyone in Central Louisiana and the surrounding areas. Hey, it's been an awesome time that's been happening. I've been loving what God's actually been doing. I tell you, it's been stirring my spirit. I mean, just really giving some direction and, just giving you, at one point in time, I had an issue with that on a need-to-know basis because, come on, let's just be real. You know how we are. Come on, God, just let me know what the plan is, won't you? Just give it to me. But no, I'm really actually starting to find an appreciation for, him just giving it to us at a spoonful at a time. And I really, now it just seems like the more he gives us to it, gives us the info a spoonful at a time. It's like, the only way I can compare it, how when you were a kid, okay, and some of you listening to this, you may not be that much older than 18 or so, but when you were like a kid, and when your parent came up to you and they had that, it wasn't that teaspoon, but it was that like neck size that just came up to you and you had that medicine on there and you were like, oh man, I don't want to take this. But it's basically how God has given it to us because he knows that he can only give it to us, quote unquote, a spoonful at a time, just because it's going to take time for it to like go down to coat those certain areas to where it's going to have the most effect, through our lives. All right. Because what would end up happening if he gave us too much, we wouldn't be able to swallow everything that he wanted to give us. But man, even in that, how God is just showing us how much he just really loves us and just wants to bless us in that. And on this terrific Tuesday, what we're really going to be going into is really, and how we see so many things of it. We had the blessed opportunity to, go back, to our home stomping grounds on this weekend. Go with my lovely wife, the sensational, spectacular, and always making me go whoop whoop. Jennifer Kuzan is on the mic.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning, baby.
We had an awesome weekend.
So what happened this weekend that made it so awesome?
We went home.
Really? You're not getting off the hook like that.
Well, if anybody's seen our Facebook page, they know.
Oh, yeah. If anyone's seen anything about Facebook page, any kind of social media and whatnot, we had the honor and the privilege of our eldest daughter. She tied the knot with a wonderful guy.
Tie the knot. She got married.
Okay, tied the knot, got married, became yoked. That's one, however you want to go ahead and verbalize it. But definitely, God really showed up and showed out and how he worked all these things out.
Yes, he really did.
And how, before they even got married, my wife was already calling our now son, that I would say officially, she was calling him son,
well, Actually, I wasn't calling him son. I was calling him my baby.
Yeah, calling him baby. I mean, the boy has a baby face and everything like that, So, but
he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, so we just definitely say, thank the Lord for, in addition to our family, and then of course, they're right now on their honeymoon, enjoying themselves, and so we just thank God for that. But right now God just wants to, what you got?
I was just gonna say I really wanted to tag along on that, not to be with them, but just to kind of enjoy what they are doing.
Well, our separate time. But see, what's really good about this now, since they are officially married, husband and wife, I mean, we can actually have them to look over the younger kids or whatever, so we can go do our thing.
Right?
Hey, parents, you got to get benefits out of that some kind of way. All right, look. So that's my benefit.
Okay, we're gonna tag team that one.
So, but all right, come on. We got to get back on that topic. All right, get on the topic.
You would.
Look, all right over there now.
Get straight, come on.
Yeah, But look, exactly what we're going to be talking about today is, identifying what's actually holding you back. And you might say, well, wow, how do you lead from where you were from talking about your daughters, getting married this weekend until, talking about what's holding you back? And what I found and what I saw is that no matter where you are, you will still see evidence of people that are being held back. And I'm not talking possibly by another individual, but a lot of times we're held back by ourselves. And I mean,
That's really really true.
Really true. And I mean, we come from I don't know if you're all familiar with like the St. Tammany Parish area. I mean, that's actually where, we're from. And, it's a lot of things you can do around there. I mean, a lot. If you were ever in the realm of never knowing about being able to do things with your kids, trust me, if you ever moved over there, you never have lack of being able to do anything, okay? But, as far as like the things that actually hold us back. Now, what I actually noticed, even in that setting, I'm a people watcher. I'll go ahead and admit that. I'm a people watcher. That's one of my activities and everything to do. But, even in that, I saw a lot of, indecisiveness. I guess you can say with some individuals, let me just say it, the other P word, procrastination. Okay?
Ooh.
Procrastination. The procrastination what really hinders the process. So we're going double P on this one today.
Okay.
All right?
Now, everyone, please don't tune out. I know we do not like that word.
But, my wife did a little digging, and I mean, I love this quote, and I know some of you may have heard it before by, Pablo Picasso, the artist, the painter, and he said,
I'll just let y'all know, I had not heard about it until yesterday.
No, okay, well, look at that.
It was a new one for me.
A revelation for her. But, he actually wrote, only put off tomorrow what you're willing to die having left undone. I'm going to say it again. Only put off for tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. Think about that. I mean, that's a hard piece of meat to chew right there. I mean.
Yeah, it is, especially for people who don't like to leave things undone.
And I'm thinking, all those individuals, and this is my wife, and she'll tell you that don't like to do to-do lists and whatnot to get things done. Oh, man, I'm like all the time, baby, why don't you make a list? Why don't you write it down? I'm going to forget about the list.
I'm going to lose the list.
She'll write the list. What is it? You've written the list. We walked out the door with the list. We get to where we're going, baby, where's your list? I have no idea.
It's either I have no idea or I left it at the house.
Exactly. But I mean, it's actually really, if you think about it, it is another form of procrastination because it's something that we actually get within ourselves and we train ourselves to do. I remember a story of like this one minister was talking to another, and it was like every time something happened, he was like, this always happens in my life, always happens. And the one minister said, exactly, it's going to always happen in your life. Why? Because you always set the stage and claim that it's always going to happen in your life. And it's the same thing with procrastination. When you always say that this certain thing is going to happen in your life, you're always going to forget. It's always going to be hard for you. Whatever you want to throw in that, it's always going to happen.
That's right.
I mean, we went on last week, I believe we were talking about how we touched on it about the power of what we say in words, and one of the things we touched on.
Right.
And it really brings life. I mean, I find myself now internally, even though I may not say it out loud, if something comes out of my mouth, I immediately go ahead, okay, God, forgive me. I'm taking that back out the atmosphere, so it doesn't have place in my life or in my family's life.
That's right.
And, I'm going to say what God places in my spirit now. I mean, I like it just because it's going to require a little effort on my part, but I know it's going to produce the greatest results.
And, we don't want to have to suffer because of what you do.
And you heard it here, folks. The first throw off of the day from my wife. My love. Woot, woot. Yet again, I see Sister Betty out there just saying, that's a good one. I'm going to use that one.
I'm going to use that one.
But look, really, procrastination is one of the main things that will actually hold you back from just walking into anything that God has in store for you. Because why? Some of us, make it a way of life. I mean, it just really, I'm not going to fly through this. Look, it's really something that we really need to get into because it's one of the main key things that hold us back from really taking full, utilization of the season that God has us into. So look, stay in your moment and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzin. Hey, it's Terrific Tuesday, and we're talking about identifying what is holding you back. And look, before we went to the break, we came, and I'm going to say it again, that quote that Pablo Picasso actually went, only put off for tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. done. I mean, that is so profound and so powerful. That in itself, I mean, if we just stayed there and we chomped on that for the entire show, it would just cause us to like really start putting things in priority, all right? Or as my wife actually verbalized it to me, I think you told me this on last night, and this is kind of what I heard, all right? I knew what you were saying, but this is literally what I heard, that if your life was to end, if God was going to call you home, okay, if it was over with on tomorrow, what things would you do that would be important before that time comes?
What would you leave that you would not want to leave someone else having to do?
Exactly. I mean,
I didn't want to use the word burden, but I didn't mean it as the,
Yeah.
But what would you leave that would be required to be completed by somebody else?
That's true. And even in that realm, and like I said, we're not going to start talking about death and everything like that, but we know that that's one of the main things that generally happens. There are a lot of unresolved things that need to be accomplished.
Loose
too many
ends.
loose ends, too many people that don't get their houses in order, however you want to verbalize it. But it's the same thing, but that's just another form of procrastination, to where we use time as, okay, well, I've got time to do that. Okay, it's always we push it back.
Well, that's because we take on an indestructible mentality.
Right.
I've got X amount of years to complete this task, or before I need to worry about this.
And we do that. And how many people do that more so than anything? And you may say, well, yeah, straightening up my house, or doing this at the job, or schoolwork, or whatever it is. But I can guarantee you the biggest thing that we procrastinate on, if you really look at it, is taking care of ourselves. I would have to say that is the biggest thing. What do you think? You don't think? You're giving me the big eye. She's like, oh my Lord, the Lord shining the spotlight on me.
Why are you bringing this to this conversation we just had?
I mean, it really, really is.
It's extremely important to take care of yourself and not wait until later.
I mean, it's how many times, we've had people, and it's not something every so often, it's like all the time. You always hear someone say they went to, the doctor, and the doctor tells them something. Yeah, I knew, God told me like X amount of months ago that I needed to start taking care of myself in this area. Yeah. And now if I would have done it, this wouldn't be happening right now. And it goes as far as like for your spiritual condition, but some people literally thrive putting things off to the last minute. I mean, I can definitely say I used to be that way. Last minute, always last minute, working under pressure. Some people really.
People thrive under pressure.
Yeah, some people do. Some people do.
Some people thrive under pressure.
Or you see, like I've actually seen some individuals that have had a deadline, like at work, and I'm talking not a week. I'm talking like they knew 3 months in advance, okay, to get something done, and they like the day before. I'm looking for this person, and I've been seeing somebody behind closed doors, and I'm not trying to smirk or laugh, but you have 3 months to do something, and all of a sudden you are behind a closed door, almost crying like a baby because this dude went in hours, and you literally waited to the very last moment to try to get something done and throw it together. Okay.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
Here we go.
No. Okay. So think about us when we were in school, having to write all those papers.
Sure,
you knew about it. We were in 8-week courses.
Oh yeah.
You knew about it 8 weeks before it was due. When did you start writing it?
That was the true definition of thriving under pressure. And what she's talking about, because of the major that I had, and I had all those theology classes, none of my research papers were less than 20 pages. But what ended up happening? If it was due, they would usually do at like midnight, I believe it was, before they switched over the day. 11:59. Yeah, 11:59. And I would literally get started at probably like about 6 or 7 o'clock. But boy, I cranked that bad boy out. Come 11:20 or so, that paper was getting turned in. But look.
And we are not suggesting that you do that. That was wrong, Kortia.
What? Oh, no. The bus driver, the bus driver, get out. I'm getting in the seat. I'm backing the bus over, and I'm running over you. Not talking about the times you went over there and said, baby, I need your help. Can you help me with this paper?
All I needed you to do was edit what I already did.
You really want me to go into the mode of talking about the edit? Okay, yeah. Edit. Hey, you need to change this and word this and shit. Hey, why don't you take care of that for me, baby?
No,
well, if you do this, change it. Look, yeah, right. Well, anyways, that's another great form of procrastination.
Spell check and grammar.
Yeah, 3 hours later, spell check and grammar, right? But definitely in the procrastination, you need to actually decide what's important to you. Now, this is going to be funny to some of you, like, okay, paying bills, all right? Now, I was so stuck up until maybe, I don't know, 3 years ago, that you literally had to just, if you had a certain bill or obligation to someone, you had to literally get in the car, go there and drive. Well, guess what? We stay 30 miles away from everything. And so it would be me having to drive over here. And I'm had all this pressure on me. I've got to get here before this time. I've got to get here before that time. But then all of a sudden, God just came and gave me the revelation. You can pay all this stuff online, right? And I was just oh, the gates of heaven just opened. So what used to take me a half a day running around, it took me 10 minutes just wow, look at that. I'm done already. And then I was in the realm of, okay, well, I got all this time on my hands. What am I about to do? So then that brought up some other stuff, and then God really just filled in that time gap. Well, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Get this done. And so,
well, see, he was trying to get you to manage your time better.
Yes, that
so
really
that
is.
He could use it.
And, that's one of the many things of how when you go through this and you finally get out of that realm of procrastination, you go into knowing about time management.
Exactly.
Okay? And then, a second point is actually, really dealing with doubt. I mean, really doubt. Let me just say self-doubt, okay? I mean, really self-doubt. And like I said, we've touched on a lot of these points before, but, just bringing it around as far as again, and, when you have that self-doubt, I mean, what ends up happening? Sometimes we start to get irrational with our thought patterns, these negative thoughts that we allow to come in, and we start having all of these scenarios that start developing. And, before long, we've said you get so worked up and you're so stressed out to where you start to really, the main thing is you start doubting if you ever really heard from God about what he actually told you. And the thing is that, you're going to have that quote unquote little voice in your head, and we know where that little voice is coming from, to really start making you think that, maybe you may not have heard right. Maybe you're not good enough to be in a certain thing. And that voice is going to be really, really convincing. And it's going to put it in a way that just seems like it's just so friendly and so looking out for your best interests. But, you really have to, get in the realm of how does this line up with what God's called me to do? I know you've gone through it. I've gone through it, to where when it's time to make a decision about something, it just seems like this voice that just jumps up. Not a voice to where it's God, but trying to give you every scenario of why you shouldn't do it,
right,
when it's the right course of action. I would have to say self-doubt is equivalent to, a self-destructive behavior, okay? Mm-hmm. To stop you to where when you're about to just really, the visual I would get to where you're literally on that last mile right before the finish line, okay? And then all of a sudden, and all of you that probably play sports know exactly what I'm talking about, to where you get to that last mile, whether you're training, you're running, and you're about to cross that finish line. Now, if you're in that last mile and you get 20 feet from the finish line, and just say it gets hard, you get this little cramp or something in your leg, are you going to say, oh, I can't cross, and you just stop right there? Or you going to just, my wife's like, look, but are you going to go ahead and persevere and cross through? Okay, and that's how so many times.
How far do I have?
Just said 20. Listen. Leave that coffee alone over there. You need to just go ahead. We just need to persevere, and go across. And this is probably one of the biggest things that stick out to me as far as in the Bible. This is one of the things that really changed my life in a lot of things. When Jacob struggled with the angel of the Lord, who's really God, and said, something, I'm not going to let you, I'm putting it in my own words, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. And that's what that equates to. You shouldn't let go of what God told you in this realm of identifying the things that are holding you back until God blesses you. Because why? He's not trying to be aloft. He's not trying to be elusive. God literally wants to bless you. He's a good father to his children. and he wants to show you that each and every step of the way. So look, we're definitely going to go ahead and take this break, and God's just like he said, identifying what's holding you back. So stay with us in the moment, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia, and hey, we're talking about identifying what is holding you back. Hey, why don't you call into the station at 318-484-2500, asking you this question. Have you ever either helped someone get over, a bout with procrastination or self-doubt, or, is it that you may have went through some of that yourself? Why don't you call in and, share your experience with us? But, during the break, my wife and I, she brought up to me on a conversation we were talking about before, how that voice that tries to get in your head and tells you all of these different things of possibly how you don't measure up or something that may be going on in your life and saying this is your fault, so on and so forth. It's almost, she equated it to like you saw those old commercials or maybe an older movie where you've got the image of the little devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder. And, you always hear the little angel trying to validate something. And what I really found this was this is going to go way back for some of you, when I used to watch like Tom and Jerry. Okay, you don't know the Tom and Jerry. It was like every time they were about to do something, those little figures or whatever would pop up, but then you'd hear like the little angel always say one thing, and then the whole little devil would always come with multiple things of saying you can do this, you can get around this way. But the voice of God is when God tells you to do something, he's going to be like tell you one way, but then back it up with his word. But then, when it's a voice that's not of God, it's basically going to be to show you how to get around something, all of these different angles to actually use to make it seem like it's the way, but it's only going to be part way wrapped with a little bit of truth in it. But we already know a piece of lie is a total lie. Okay. So just letting you know, as far as like that tidbit of not to be deceived by the enemy. So, in self-doubt, there are three big lies that people may come in or they may encounter when it comes to, self-doubt and how, the enemy wants you to actually believe it. Now, definitely this rang true for me is that at one point in time, if you can believe it, I actually had a confidence level. This was like many, many years, ago, when I was younger. And, it was basically drawn from, words that were said to me that were not, positive reinforcement. So I started having a lot of self-doubt. So, and the thing that I had on the inside of me is that I really did think that everyone else felt confident. Okay. It was there. I was just like seeing, and I based that off of, a lot of things that happened when I was in school, as far as like seeing other people's lives, how family was treating them. They talked about places they were going, just the things that were around me. It caused me to have self-doubt. And, I kind of measured my life according to other people's lives. And I'm like, wow, I seem pretty insignificant to what's going on in their life. And then, of course, your gut is trying to tell you when you try to make decisions about things that, it's a bad idea. All right. Now, my thing is, and I love how on this morning when we were coming in, listening to the Sin Law Spiritual Hour, which I yet again recommend that you start your day off at 5 a.m., okay, listening or watching the Sin Law Spiritual Hour. And we had, Pastor Greg on there, and he was basically giving the example of same thing we do with our kids, of how his daughter had got to be 21 years of age and, still running the daddy like some of our parents, like our kids do. And, he said that he told her, well, ask your mom when he was cutting the grass or whatnot. And then she said, well, she told me to come out here and ask you. And she said, I was just about to go ahead and tell her what to do. But then the Holy Spirit quickened in me. She's at an age right now to where she needs to be seeking me for herself. Okay. And literally his advice was, maybe you need to go ahead and seek your Heavenly Father on what you need to do, which it was in a realm of going, and she wanted to go to some party, I believe it was. Well, that's exactly what God wants us to do when it comes to, instead of, going with our gut and then we get this voice in our head about, this is a terrible idea. How could you actually think about something like that? Well, seek God in that. I mean, really. And I'm going to be real with it. So, sometimes we don't like, at least I would say for myself, sometimes I don't like the answers that God gives,
Sometimes we already know the answers that God is going to give.
Yeah, it's like, okay, and look, if like I said, first partaker to this, sometimes you already know what God's going to tell you.
But
and
you're still trying to rationalize it.
Yeah, and you still trying to rationalize it in yourself and say, okay, all right, if I say it this way and I have a nice voice when I say it, real nice or whatever, and I put it almost like in this holy context, oh Lord, my Father, God, I know you're listening to me, and Lord, you know this situation.
And you know my heart, and you know the desires of my heart.
You know my heart. You know why I'm coming to you for this, Lord. You know why I'm coming. And then you get up there and you get into the thing almost, Lord, won't you help me? Won't you help me, Lord?
You need to quit.
And then, God is, it's kind of funny. And like I said, this is how God deals with me. It could be somewhere else. And it's almost like, really? Boy, are you serious?
You thought that was going to work.
Yeah, that's how God deals with me. I don't know how he deals with you, but that's how God talks with me, okay? And it's like, okay, yeah, I already know the answer. I don't have to come up. And he's still, even in that, even in you trying to wiggle your way to get your own way with God, after that, he's just like, boy, that's one of the reasons I like you. You make me laugh. You knew you weren't going to get anywhere, but, you still make me laugh even with that stuff. So, look, even in that, you can be blessed in how, you can provide humor or put a smile on the Lord's face. But, I mean, definitely when you go through that, I would have to say, and, you testify to it, and I know I've testified on it, but one of the biggest things that happened when identifying what's holding you back is that, doubt can actually show you that you shouldn't be moving forward in a certain situation. I mean,
yeah, it can.
Because I mean, when you say, "Oh, yes, I know this is the will of God," and then all of a sudden, situations and things come up, things aren't lining up to how you prayed. God's sending, a check system as I want to have it. You hear a message that says you shouldn't do it. You're getting this word that says you shouldn't do it. A person comes to you and says you shouldn't do it. You're listening to a song you've heard 15,000 times on the radio, and all of a sudden that song is telling you shouldn't do it, but yet you still would do it. You trying to do it. So,
or trying not to do it.
Yeah, really, okay? And then look, like I said, we've been there. You get all the signals, and, as far as like the doubt or whatever, and how God was using it to tell you not to do it, and then you all of a sudden you go ahead and you do it anyway, and you're like, I don't know why this didn't work. I mean, Lord, why weren't you in the midst of this? And then it's just like I said, you could just see him like a good father just shaking his head. Boy, really? Come on now. It's like how you use that whole example that time, the person that was drowning, and God sent us.
He was on top of the house.
Sent the motorboat, sent the cruise liner, then sent the helicopter, and then he died.
Said, Lord, I know you're coming.
And then God told him every single thing, and how with him, you chose to want me to go ahead and provide for you or to bring you out your way, but you didn't see how I was trying to do it my way.
Right.
And that's what brings about so many of the things that are actually holding us back, because we want to go ahead.
I was going to say, we have to be able to step outside of ourselves.
I mean, it's really the thing. And I've looked back and, I've heard this so many times, and I thought about it. And, one of the biggest questions right now that might be resonating, where may not be, but it will after I say it, that if you had the opportunity to literally, if God said, I'm going to give you one opportunity, if you choose to take it, to go back and change any particular moment in your life, would you take it? I mean, really, would you take it? And I don't know why that came to me, but on this weekend, when, the marriage and everything was coming, that actually came to me. I was in that gazebo, looking out over the water, have no idea why this popped in my head, and I flat out said no. I wouldn't change
that's
anything.
What I was thinking too. I can't think of anything that I would change, because I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have the family I have today. I would not probably be in this place. We probably would not be together if I ever went back and changed anything.
That's true. Because at one point in time, I was saying I would go back to myself like around the high school years. Okay, if you do this is going to happen. If you do that, that's going to happen. But if certain things, and like I said, we've had, just like so many of you, we've had some great times in our lives, like my wife said, but we've had some terrible times, okay? And, a lot of the things that happen to me, I see God even use those things to break me of so many mental things, arrogance that was off the charts and everything. And then, of course, don't you even try it. Don't even try it. And then, things that, as far as like, I can say with my wife, just leaning pretty much on yourself, as far as like thinking if you would actually need to have someone else in your life or like a support system, but you know exactly what I mean.
The amount of independence I was taught and ingrained in me.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, so many different ways that you can identify things that happen from early on in your life to where you are right now that actually may be holding you back and how it came into play. So look, God's definitely speaking to you. I know he's clicked that light switch on, and he's definitely just wanting to let you know exactly how he's still right there with you. So look, stay with us as we come back to our final portion. We'll be right back. So stay in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia, and hey, wow. Definitely talking about those things that are trying to hold you back. Definitely identifying those things that are trying to hold you back. And what really came up, as we were going to break is that a lot of the things that are actually happening, that will hold an individual, try to hold an individual back, deals in the realm of, fear as well. And, when a person is fearful and, when they're actually making decisions based upon fear, it's always something that's sporadic. It's almost like they get into, survival mode, which is going on. And I tell you, when you actually make decisions in the realm of fear, you only see the downside. It's like, I've got to do this. This has got to happen. I've got to make this decision right now. You really don't think about why you need to go ahead and do it. And I mean, definitely we used to do that all the time. And I tell you, God has allowed, he's gotten us in the realm of making some decisions that really just don't make any kind of sense whatsoever in the natural. I mean, if it's been like a financial situation, I know God has actually had us to like either sow in someone's life or do something else. And then all of a sudden when we were obedient, we went somewhere else. And then, it was a blessing that came not only to take care of that initial need, but then all these other needs that we didn't see that were coming behind it, okay? But, and then, fear actually, it like I said, it doesn't allow you to stop and think things through. It's almost like, I don't know, what is that expression? You're trying to throw something on the wall to see what sticks. You're just trying to make something happen when it's not really evident about what you should do. You're just hoping something happens, or should I say that false hope about things actually producing results in your life. And when we get into that realm, it's like we get into this whole entire state of confusion, I would actually say. Mm-hmm. Okay, to where you're just swirling around, and it's almost like God is like kind of tapping you on your shoulder when you get like that, saying, "Oh, look, I have the answer for that." But you're like, "Oh, not okay, God, hold on, not right now. I'm trying to work this thing out. Hold on. I'll get to you in just a moment." Well, if you will just listen, I could tell you something simple to, solve that. Look, and, I've actually been at a point myself where I'm just like, look, I am trying to work this out right now. Hey, I'm being real with you. I cannot talk right now. I have got to work this out. And, literally up all day, going through most of the night, and then finally lay down on a pillow and you say, something, I'm not going to deal with this. And it was just like, he went just like, finally, and then said something, and I'm like, no, really, it was that simple? Is that all I had to do? One little thing? But look, that's just how he operates.
But that's what happens when you step out and try and do things on your own and not listen to what God is telling you.
Exactly. I mean, that's why he tells us to cast our cares upon him, being that burden bearer, that problem solver. And, it's funny at how those particular scriptures like that, when you know those scriptures, but you still decide to, okay, right, I'm going to just put this on the side for later, okay? Even when he tells you this, I mean, just like what really resonated to me, and it's like it should with so many of us, that no matter what it is, we should bring everything before the Father. And I know some of you, like I said, out there, you don't believe exactly the same way that we believe, and we're not trying to condemn or put down anyone. This show, like I continually say, is for everyone. But I'm just letting you know how we go through our lives, okay, and the way, we get things done in our lives. And, you know, I know that some of you right now, you know, you may be going through some things as far as like in your lives. You're like, man, it's like I've been dealing with this same thing over and over, you know. And I think we gave the example of actually being chained down, or I saw something or read something or heard something. And, you know, it was almost like, you know, the example of if you've ever been to a circus, all right, if you ever seen a circus and you've seen those elephants outside of a tent, right? And they've got these big old chains or whatever around that leg, and it's staked in the ground. And they get trained and everything, but they keep this chain, and they know they can only go so far. But when they're like performing, they don't have the chain on their legs. So you might say, well, wow, this is a perfect opportunity for that elephant to just say, see ya, I'm out of here, right? Well, because of being conditioned for so long in a certain area, to where they will only go so far because they have it ingrained in their minds that this is the limit of where I can go.
Right.
And this is how it is with us as people. We get ingrained so much so that this is the limit of where we can go, and we cannot go any further. Just because why? We've been conditioned so much to what's actually been holding us back to where what we've taken it as our reality. Okay.
Right.
And you know, a lot of us, how the guy actually said, he's like, if the elephant, you know, if the whatever animal it is just decided to take that 1 or 2 extra steps to go beyond where they always, you know, hit that wall, they would actually see just how much further they actually have for them. You know, just like the analogy of the little frog, you know, with the pond. All of a sudden he just got up one day and decided, well, what's on the other side of this wall, or, you know, over this hedge, whatever it is. And when he found out that he jumped out of the pond, he jumped on the wall, but then he looked and he saw an entire ocean that was out there. But for all his life, he thought that pond was his entire world, his entire existence. And, you know, that's basically what the enemy wants us to look at, that what we're in right now, that's it. It's never going to get any better. This is your entire existence. And I know some of you are saying, well, my life is really good. Things are really happening for me and my family. But, you know, even in your life being as blessed as it is, I mean, God even has more for you, especially if you're doing what he's called you to do, okay? Because the more you do for him, all right, and you know who I'm talking to out there, the more you're doing for him, he wants to give you even more to be a blessing to others. I mean, because that's what we've been called for. I mean, we really are.
That's right.
Blessed to be a blessing, okay?
Yep.
And you do that by what? Making a demand on the blessing, all right? That seed of greatness that we talk about on the inside. And also, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting here just in my own thoughts.
Oh, what's in your own thoughts?
No, go ahead.
No, okay. But fear also tells us to like really avoid, you know, new things, unknown things. We get into that mindset, well, you know, I've always done it this way, you know, it should work out this way, you know, eventually it's going to produce results. And, you know, we've gone over this so many different times, you know, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, you know, true definition of insanity. And it just doesn't work that way. And it really, you know, you get restricted from expanding, you know, what God wants to do in your life. And I'm just here to tell you, if you're still in that same mindset as far as like thinking that, hey, God's not going to do things to stretch you out. Look, I don't know exactly, you know, what realm or what path you're walking on, but everything that God does when it comes to his children, it's about stretching you out so that you can grow more. Because we have to grow more. And, you know, and definitely, David, I know you're listening, you know, those vessels. I mean, it's amazing. The more we stretch out into different realms, I literally see a visual of like the vessel, which is us, expanding more and more.
Right.
And, you know, it's almost like I can see us expanding. It's like, you know, I know this is a funny visual, but you can see the windows of heaven that are open and God's just having the angels just right there. Okay, oh, they've expanded more. I need you to pour more out. Pour more out to them. Just keep on pouring. Keep on pouring. As long as they're willing to receive it, keep on pouring. Let it flow. Let those blessings flow. And, you know, that should put a smile on so many of our lives. And then, of course, like the distractions that we have in life, all right? Main distractions. Social media can be a good thing, but, hey, more often than not, it's one of the main distractions that keep us from really putting time into what God has really called us to do nowadays, okay? Smartphones, I mean, it's just a matter of now how many times have we said, and I've said it, and my wife said, heard other people say, it's like it's almost one of our appendages and everything now, just like an arm or a leg. You've got to keep that phone on you, all right? Some people can get miles from the house. Ooh, I left my phone. Turn around and go all the way back, you know, just because they don't see themselves making it without the phone. Media, definitely spending time for TV and videos and whatnot. I mean, we can spend time for that, but hey, let's spend some time fellowshipping with the Lord, okay? And then, of course, people in general. Now, you might say, well, people don't hinder you. How many times have you had someone that's your buddy per se, and they say, hey, man, put that off till later. Let's go head out. Let's shoot a little ball. Let's go catch a show. I don't know if you still say go to the movies, catch a show. But, whatever it is, whatever the distractions that may be in front of you that may be hindering you to move forward. But look, God just wanted to touch you and just show you how much he loves you on today. Because what? He wants you to identify the things that are holding you back from being the greatest version of you, who he's predestined you to be. So look, definitely I know you've been touched by this and that God's really spoke to you on the inner fiber of who you are. And look, if you didn't realize it, God loves you. We loves you. But more than anything, walk into the fullness of what he has in store for you. So look, stay in your moment, take care, and God bless you, and we'll see you on tomorrow.